Hello, good afternoon from Bangkok, Thailand. It is Flano here, live from Bangkok, Thailand. How's it going out there? Yeah, I haven't had a real proper walk and ramble session here for a long time. A lot has really happened since I've really done a ramble, a proper ramble. America, my home country, has a new president, and I've been pretty clear about my political stance on everything in the US. I am not a Trump supporter. I am not a Uncle Joe supporter. I am very upset with the way the American political system is today. Not happy with it. Very upset. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of big problems happening within the government, and the really big issue that I like to talk about is the censorship issue. Censorship is happening in an unprecedented fashion right now. Things are getting wiped out left and right. You don't have to be a Trump supporter to be censored. I'm not a Trump supporter, never even closely. But I am for fairness, transparency, free speech, open-mindedness, things like that. I'm very open to that. I'd like to see things happening where everybody can see what's going on, make up their own mind on all issues, medical, political. Especially as a US citizen, you should have the ability to look at things and make up your own mind. How difficult is that? The American thing was all about free speech, being founded on that principle, and it is no longer available. Why is it no longer available? Because of the Patriot Act and what's happening soon, the Patriot 2.0 Act. All of these things are happening. All this censorship is in the name of protecting you, taking care of your safety, protecting you from domestic terrorism, which is a whole nother issue once you get into that. So, but the thing I have a hard time with is seeing highly accredited medical, scientific scientists, different doctors being banned, blocked, and censored on social media right now. This is a big problem. But one thing I'd like to say, there's still a lot of people looking for information. Some people don't totally know how to go about finding good information. But I can tell you this, the real good stuff you're going to find is no longer on YouTube. That is, if you're trying to get to the answer of things. Most of all these people have been jumping over to platforms such as BitChute, Rockfin, Odyssey, Library. What am I forgetting? BitChute, Rockfin, Library, Odyssey. Yeah, just to name a few. So, yeah, the censorship thing, man, it's really bad. I'm very upset because there are really good people out there saying some very good things. They're not Trump supporters, they're not Biden supporters. They're just people trying to get the real true facts out there. And I applaud those guys. There's a lot of good people out there. First guys that come to my mind are like James Covert of the Covert Report, Ryan Christian from the last American vagabond, Whitney Webb. Wow. She is part of this very unique group of people bringing you some heavy, hardcore, wonderful reporting. Check. She's not easy to, well, her stuff's out there, but she's got her website, I think, is the Unlimited Hangout. The Unlimited Hangout, Whitney Webb. Ryan Christian is the last American vagabond. Oh, and then of course we got Robert Kennedy Jr., the Children's Health Fund, Children's Health Defense Fund or something. Robert Kennedy Jr., he is awesome. And it's funny because I've heard some people, you know, poo-poo him. Oh, he, I go, what do you mean? Oh, he, this, that, and the other thing. If you listen to him, if you sat down and listened to his message and listened to what he's really, really saying, because the more you learn about the Kennedy family, regardless of what you think about them, the more you really dig in, they've done some amazing things. And the way I see it, my opinion of their legacies, they've always done things very much for the people. And the people's best interest is probably the best way of saying it. That's why JFK was assassinated. That's why his brother, Robert Kennedy, the father of Robert Kennedy Jr., was assassinated. And also why John F. Kennedy Jr. was assassinated, murdered, had a bad airplane accident conveniently happened for him. Soon as he made it official he would run for office and eventually be going towards the White House to make sure baby Bush Jr. wouldn't get into the White House. So once that happened, he had a plane accident. And they do a good job of making it look like an accident. So think about that. You got John F. Kennedy assassinated, his brother assassinated, his kid assassinated, his son. Robert Kennedy Jr. is the last one still doing what he's doing, and I think the only reason he's alive so far is he hasn't gone up against hardcore political people in office saying he's going to run for president or whatever, right? But Robert Kennedy Jr. has sued the pharmaceutical industry and won. He's won multiple big cases, but you'll never hear about that in the mainstream media because they keep that quiet. They keep it buried. They don't want people knowing what he's doing, because if people knew what he was doing, they'd be asking more questions probably. And this is exactly what the narrative does not want you to do. They want you to sit home, watch TV, watch your sports games, drink your beer, work hard, go to your job Monday through Friday, put in your hours, follow directions, and occasionally take a little vacation. But now they've even stopped that. Isn't that interesting? So, and regarding this whole situation, someone said they thought I was saying this isn't real. I've never, ever said that. Swadee Kap. All I have said is that I don't know exactly how severe this is compared to the, when I say common, I'll just say the last flu outbreaks the last 4 or 5 years, because we've had some bad ones. In the past, hospitals have been overrun, hospitals have been overcrowded actually. Hospitals have been dealing with dead patients like crazy. And actually, if you start looking at statistics and looking at the past few years, you'll see that all the statistics are very similar to what we're dealing with right now. Similar. There's no massive like spike in anything when you start honestly sitting down looking at the data. So when people have their opinions on whether it's what can I say? Let me go this way. When people have their opinions on all this stuff, I always wonder where their opinions are formed from. How do they get these opinions? And so when you talk to people and ask them really good questions, where do you get your opinion on this matter? Whatever. It doesn't necessarily have to be that. It could be on anything, actually. Swadee Kap, Swadee Kap, Swadee Kap. You can make your opinion on a lot of things, but where is your opinion coming from? That's what I want to know. Because most people, their opinion is probably coming from the media, from the news, things that they're seeing and reading. That's logical, that's normal for people to watch a lot of news, watch a lot of news and see their opinions, get their opinions from that. So what I'm trying to say is that if you control the media, you control people's perceptions. And if you control people's perceptions, you control their opinions. I think that's a pretty fair thing to say. So when you realize that there's a very small group of people that pretty much control the worldwide media, seriously, there's a very, very small group of like-minded people that control the media. So think about that. And if you think what I'm saying sounds crazy or whatever, it's a fact, it's true. A small group of people, not many. And there's even a smaller group of people that have a wide-ranging influence in not only media, but a wide influence in political agendas, policy matters internationally, not just domestically within country to country, but worldwide. And this whole new world order, I think some people are starting to realize it's actually quite real. It's been talked about by multiple presidents. I don't know if Reagan was the first one to say it, talking about a new world order. Bush sure said it a bunch of times. Obama. But yeah, these are things that are shaping. And the other thing that's happening right now that not only I've been speaking about, but a lot of people, is this whole universal digital ID system in the form of a health passport, a digital health passport for flying, for traveling. Look up Clear Pass. Clear, ClearPass.com, and or if that's not a common pass, COMMON pass, PASS.com. This is exactly what the world's going to very soon. Everybody's going to be using this, and if it's not going to be in a form of a actual card, a digital like credit card, it'll go into a what we call implantable. Implantable means just that. It'll be some sort of technology that will be under your skin, is what it means. For example, we have the RFID microchips, radio frequency identification chips happening. And this is actually the RFID microchips are kind of old technology now. The big thing is the nano particles, nanotechnology. This stuff can be a data storage system of sorts, can be under your skin. And yeah, anyway, all this information, it can store everything about you, which is really convenient in many ways. It can have all your health information, medical health information, banking information. I mean, everything you can think about can be stored there and scanned very easily. So you can essentially just kind of skate through an airport, just go right through all the different checkpoints, just scan, scan, scan. As long as your scanning works, you're good to go. And of course, with all that scanning, you can be tracked every inch of your trip, everywhere you go, every transaction you're doing, who you're talking to, who you're hanging out with, how long you're hanging out with them, and again, the locations of where you are, always. So some people either think it's not a big deal if you're not doing anything wrong. Well, yeah, I used to totally think that way. I absolutely thought 100%, what's the deal? I'm not doing anything wrong. Yeah, that right there can be a problem. So anyway, I just hope people can start opening their minds, looking around, checking things out a little more, looking at stories and issues from multiple angles, because anybody who's just sitting down and watching or reading the news and going off of basing their opinions off of what they see and read, they're needing more help. Swadikap, swadikap, sabay di mai. And so, yeah, you know, I think a lot of the world today is in for a very rude awakening, even more so than what we're dealing with at the moment. Because I think this whole COVID, wear a mask thing is just the beginning. Again, it's just my opinion. I know nothing, right? I'm just looking around, trying to figure out what's going on to the best of my knowledge. And there are many like-minded people such as myself with very similar opinions, and some pretty cool researchers out there doing some cool work. So, and there's some that are completely wacky, that are not doing such good work. But to end this whole thing here, we have the censorship being a big issue right now, which I wish would fix itself, but that's not going to happen. But it's a huge issue. When someone's trying to point out facts, when I say facts, I'm talking about like government papers, laws, things like this. The, what is it? The PubMeds, the published medical findings that are being removed off the internet, as a matter of fact. Being removed. Isn't that crazy? And well, that goes into the whole thing about changing science, saying certain things never existed that actually did, certain test results. Oh, well, the vaccine debate, of course, is huge. And like Robert Kennedy said, Robert Kennedy Jr., the CDC was formed as a government armed division to combat the fight or the concern of a big, huge, what was it? They were afraid the Russians were going to do a biological attack on us. So the CDC was formed as a military arm to combat this fear, this worry, and they were to develop some sort of a vaccine for this. Vaccines are not safety tested. They don't go through a proper safety test the way most other drugs go through. They don't do placebos, and from my understanding, there has never ever been a test, any kind of study, to show the health differences between vaccinated people and non-vaccinated people. Like they haven't, let's say, taken 100 vaccinated people, 100 non-vaccinated people from like the same time era, if you will, and followed them for, let's say, 10 years to see who's dealing with what kind of health issues along the way. That has never been done by, well, definitely hasn't been done by the pharmaceutical industry. And to my knowledge, I think there has been someone who's done something similar to this recently, an independent one, but there's no official pharmaceutical sponsored study. None. And that's why you hear the Surgeon General, that's military. So, yeah, just an interesting point. So, yeah. And also, when you're listening to some of the researchers and doctors and scientists that I've been watching and listening to, Robert Kennedy Jr. just being one, he's an environmental lawyer, but he's been fighting Big Pharma for a long time. He's got all the documents to back everything up he talks about. Huge database. You can go and look at all these things, all the different cases he's tried and won, and it's quite fascinating. But I do feel very, how do I say, I don't know, I just feel very sorry for some of the people that get down on what they call anti-vaxxers, because the majority of what are called anti-vaxxers are not anti-vaxxers at all. All they want is to see clear, transparent proof of safety health studies and making sure that the vaccines do not have aluminum or mercury in them. Oh, that's crazy. They haven't had that in 100 years. Well, okay, you say that. Tell me where the information is. Show me the data. I mean, show me empirical data that there is no... some vaccines don't have it, that's true. But some do. And do you know which ones do and which ones don't? The active and non-active? You know the difference between the active and non-active vaccines? Most people have no knowledge of this. So, yeah, most people have no knowledge of this. Everything they do is basically blind faith because the medical professionals tell them this is safe, this is what you do. Oh, that brings me on another point. Oh no, my doctor says I need it, so I just should do it. Oh, you always believe what your doctor says. Yes, of course, John, you're so crazy. My doctor, it's a doctor. Okay. There was a time not too long ago when doctors were telling everybody they should be smoking cigarettes. And if you don't believe it, it's very, very true. They had cigarette commercials with doctors on television in America, at least they did. All these big doctors would say how cigarettes are good for you. They'd have one 60 Minutes, they'd have all these big celebrities promoting cigarettes. Doctors choose Camel. These were big, big ads. So people talk about how the whole medical industry is telling them good stuff. And also another issue is the Tuskegee event, or Tuskegee test, where they on purpose injected a whole portion of black Americans with syphilis, telling them it was just a basic little health shot. And I think it was Clinton who eventually apologized for that. I'm pretty sure it was Clinton, as in Bill, not Hillary. So that's something of interest most people don't know about. Very interesting. But anyway, if you're still listening to this, thank you very much. I'm rambling, that's why it's called Walk and Ramble with Flano in Bangkok. So I gotta step in and go look for something really quick where I'm at here. Sukhumvit and Asok. Some of you might know where I'm at if you've been here in Bangkok. And yeah, I gotta go. So thanks for checking in. If you are going to leave any comments, please be respectful. I'm open to debate and friendly arguments, but if you can't be respectful, then I just won't. I'll just delete it. Pretty simple. I'm respectful to people about stuff. I respect people's opinions. I open my mind to listen to things that might be a little different, to try to understand things from different perspectives, which I've been doing big point of my life. So that's about it. All right, guys, I gotta go. Love you all. Thank you very much for checking this out. Please leave comments, leave suggestions. Just be respectful and take care of each other. All right.